Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Empire Let's Play series. We're going to get a couple of things done today. One of them is we're going to run over towards the desert, and I'm going to show you some work I did during a live stream. I also want to do some exploration of the desert, and maybe open up some more maps so we can map out that area over there. And then finally, I want to get some better armor. We're over here at the map library. You can kind of see I did a little bit of cleaning up. The chests that were sitting here full of stuff, I went ahead and grabbed them, moved them over to where we're going to build our storage facility, just a little bit down the road down there. So things look much, much cleaner. We've got some maps up on the wall. We've got a couple of chests, cartography table, and then the bed. And then I went ahead and tucked the crafting table just underneath the bed there. Last episode, we were over here in the desert, and we built this little desert village. And so we're going to start over there today, taking a look at that. And then, as I was saying, all this area around here that's all desert, I kind of want to poke around and see what's out there. I'm going to grab a little bit of paper. I'm going to grab our cartography table, and let's just grab a whole bunch of maps in case we need them all. Let's go ahead and grab our horse, and let's head back over to the desert. So on one of the live streams recently, I went ahead and did some work over here, and you can see that road goes off to the jungle village, Rollins, and then this one starts to come along like this and goes off towards the desert. And you'll notice I got all of this installed here, so this looks really great. And then we have this really interesting tunnel. And it's real moody, real spooky. This is all slabs, so nothing can spawn in here. You can see where it just sort of steps down right there. And then there's a little bit of glow lichen in here. And it just looks really cool, I think. So, yeah, a really neat and different tunnel than we've done before. And then we come along here, down across the river. This tunnel up ahead, we still have a lot of work to do there, and we will likely get that done in an upcoming live stream. I do the live streams usually Saturdays around 2 p.m. Pacific time, so keep an eye out for that, and you can pop on and join me if you'd like. The tunnel will come out this way. We'll have a road that continues in this direction. And off there in the distance, you can see our big ol' jungle village. Last episode, we also built this boat crossing here. We will go ahead and tie up our horse. We'll hop in the boat, go across the river. Because the village has been taking off so fast, I've started to get a bunch of cats. When you get more and more villagers, for whatever reason, the cats spawn. So I've got a cat down there, and then you'll notice as we get closer, a couple cats by the entrance here. I did a couple things between episodes. One, obviously, is I added the deep slate supports. I had them on the back, but I went ahead and added them all the way around. And they look pretty cool. They look very substantial. They add a little bit of character. Looks kind of sketchy. And then you'll also notice I kind of went through and just added another block of elevation to some of the rooms up there. I don't know if it was very clear last time when I was building how this is kind of laid out. But yeah, you can see like that section is elevated. And over on the side, there was an elevated section. And here we are. So I did a little bit of moving things around as the villagers started to take the jobs. We got a bell in here. The other thing I did is since we had this tree in the middle that's sort of dropping leaves, I grabbed some of the leaf litter and put it around. And I think it really adds to the lived-in quality. It really makes things look like they've been here for a while. I also added in a few little decorations, things like that. And it's looking real great. The idea with this was there's basically 4 modules. There's a room here, room here, and a space. Now, because we put the stairs here, obviously we had to put the entrance to this room on that side. And then this is the same thing. Room, 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 space. Room, 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 space. Room, room, no room because I needed to get in, space. So they're actually really symmetrical. And then to make things interesting, obviously I needed an entrance. And the other thing I did is instead of putting the stairs here and move this across and then put the stairs here, move this across, I put a backwards staircase and then connected all of this, again, just to make it look a little less symmetrical. And it's real cool. As you can see, we have a ton of villagers now. They're all starting to take the jobs. There are still some spots that don't have workstations yet. And then there are some workstations that I'm not sure if they've been discovered yet, because these are kind of a little bit of a jaunt, you know? But yeah, it's coming along, and I think it looks really neat. The other thing you'll notice is I got signs up for the different types of workstations, and then I added some more permanent lighting. Rather than having torches everywhere, we've got these nice lanterns hanging about. Haven't really done much with our space over here. Started just moving all of the stuff that was downstairs into these chests here, so a little bit more organized. Just have a couple of workstations, our bed. Went ahead and put the remaining deep slate up there. Instead of torches, again, a lantern, so everything is nice and spawn-proof. And I think it's pretty great. So first thing in the morning, the villagers usually get together and they all kind of hang out, talk. They'll pop into each other's businesses, things like that. And then at some point, they all kind of split up and they go to work. And they all go to their respective workstations. And then after they work for a bit, they all kind of get back together and they talk, usually around the bell or the central area of the village. And then they try to go to bed after that. So I'm curious if any of the villagers will make their way up here to any of these workstations. Well, it doesn't seem so. Most of the workers are occupying the first floor and then upstairs here. I haven't traded with anybody yet, so if I take a workstation away... Oh, there's another cat that just spawned into life there. Yeah, if I was to take some of their workstations away, they would seek out other workstations, and so potentially we could kind of push villagers to explore up here if we wanted. Like over there, I have the two masons. So what if we took their jobs and got them to kind of explore elsewhere? Okay, so this guy doesn't have a job. And this guy doesn't have a job. Okay, see, that's promising. And then if they get up there and take the jobs, yep, they're going to see the beds up here as well, and they'll figure out there's room for more villagers. So we got those two. I got 1, 2, 3 more up here. So if we take away 3 more jobs downstairs, they should move upstairs. Let's see, we got a fisherman. I could take his job. Okay. He's going to go find a job. Another fisherman. Okay, now he'll go find another job. Let's see, a weaponsmith. Now, fortunately, the rooms are all labeled, so I know what I need to put back. Let's see what this guy does. Yep, we got a potion guy. Well, I'm going to park all of these workstations here, just so I know where they are. And then once we get some more villagers popping up, we can add the jobs back in, and then we'll have a full village. So, we got our map here. There we are. And let's see, if I face that way is south. It's weird, because I came through the jungle and went through a tunnel, I'm a little bit turned around. So, for whatever reason, that feels like south to me. But that's not south. That's the direction toward Southland. So, that's south. So, obviously, We got a desert temple out there. But let's see what else we can find before the sun goes down. This here is a pretty wild feature. It is a giant, giant cave that goes all the way down to deep slate, and then it intersects with this ocean, so you get these nice waterfalls. I was thinking not really a way to get down there, but I could just kind of swim down and potentially swim back up. A little bit dangerous, but not impossible. And then I noticed as I walked around the whole thing, like right here, there are deep slate diamond ore that have access to the sky. That is wild. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So pretty good reason to head down there. Also, just on the other side, there was a mine shaft that intersects with this as well. So again, potentially very dangerous, but lots of good stuff down there. I think before we head down there, though, armor is going to be an important thing. So let's grab some of the goodies that we found and the maps, and then we'll head back, put some things away, and figure out our armor situation. While we were digging around in the desert temple, I found a saddle, and then I saw a wandering villager and some llamas who didn't really have anything. Hello, cat. So I ended up with a lead. Yeah, and I thought I saw a camel over here. Hello, camel. Put a saddle on him. Jump on. There we go. This cat is killing all of the rabbits. I feel like I walk about twice as fast as this camel does. Well, we'll decide later whether we want to rely on a camel or bring a horse over for this little stretch of road here. But like I said, in the meantime, let's go drop off all of our goodies, put the maps away, and then talk about armor. Down in the desert, we exposed a couple of maps. So I think this one's going to go right there. Yep. And then this one is going to be right down below here, like so. And then this one has our village on it, and I went ahead and named the village Blakey. Again, another jazz artist. So right there is the village. Right there is our boat crossing. right up here by this little red sand area, that's where the tunnel will come out. So we'll build a road all the way over here to Blakey. And then kind of right down in here is where the desert temple was. It's kind of interesting. And then right across this river, there was a pretty massive windswept area that was very interesting looking. There's a lot of little holes and pitfalls in this desert. And then big old ocean down here, which is the same ocean that we saw over there. And then right over here, there's some greenery and then this really, really wild chasm that just sort of cracks into the earth with all these waterfalls. And we could see deep slate, we could see diamonds, we could see a mine shaft. So we will definitely have to get down there and explore some of that. The storage facility, which is going to be in this area here, is definitely a priority for me right now. I want to get everything kind of situated before we start getting too sprawled out. Once we have the armor, I do want to explore that chasm. I do want to explore the woodland mansion. But as far as a big build, I think the storage facility might be the next one. A couple episodes ago, we put some signs up here to indicate what is in what direction. And I really like how these turned out. I did move this one from the outside of the road to the inside of the road, and I feel like when we come from this direction, it just looks much, much clearer. And I was thinking, my initial idea was I really only need to have signs wherever there's an intersection. But we also should have signs wherever there's a village or a build. So for example, when we come out of our planning lodge, there should be a sign that says, this way to the map library, and this way to Mingus, or whichever village is next. And that way, it's very clear which direction everything is. So for example, at Mingus and at the stable, we should have signs that indicate what the next thing is you'll run into. So we'll do that in a future episode as well. I want to stop off here at the stable because we found a bunch of horse armor and I want to drop that off. One thing you'll notice, and I pointed out on the last live stream, is that this is a different horse than I was riding initially. If I take the horse armor off, you can see this is a brown spotted horse. And I grabbed this horse because it's way faster. And what I did is I got all of the brown spotted horses together, kind of rode them around, and was able to pretty quickly determine that this one was the fastest of all of them. It's definitely not the strongest, as far as the number of horse hooves. But it is definitely the fastest. And so what I was thinking is once we kind of figure out which horse of each type is fastest, I could then go through and, kind of sort out which horse is ultimately the fastest. So you'll notice over here in some of these pens, like here, I have 2 of the brown horses with the large white spots. Some of these are unique. And then other ones, gray with the big white spots, black with the gray hooves. So there are, I think, more variants than this, if I'm not mistaken. But once we figure out, again, which one's the fastest of these, then we can kind of go through and figure out, which one is the fastest of these 2. And the fastest one we'll put in the stable, and the least fast one we can just leave out here in the yard. And that way we'll know that all of the horses in here are the fastest of their type. I think that'll be a cool thing to do. And potentially we could figure out, which horse is fastest and which horse is strongest, which horse jumps the highest, different things like that, if we're into that. And then we should probably give some of them names. I'm going to think about that. If you have ideas of like a theme we could use for the horse names, let me know. Oh yeah, I was going to drop off my armor. It's real easy to get distracted in this game. So we did have some iron, we do have a bunch of gold, and now we have a diamond horse armor, which is pretty cool. So plenty of horses, plenty of saddles, plenty of horse armor. Let's finish up today and see if we can get some decent armor. So I currently have 53 levels of experience. We've got an experience farm if we need to get more experience. Got a fair amount of diamonds over here. And then on the last live stream, I ran down to the swamp and I grabbed some mending books. Now I know there are some enchantments we can't get, like Swift Sneak. You know, we can't get that until we go to the Deep Dark and, you know, things like that. So I'm mostly hoping for things like Protection, Respiration, Aqua Affinity, Feather Falling, stuff like that. So right now I have a diamond chest plate and it has projectile protection on it, which is not great. So I think what we're going to do is peel that off. And then we need some leggings, some boots, and a helmet. Now, historically, I usually wear gold pants because the pants, you can't put a ton of enchantments on them. And whenever you go to the nether, it keeps the piglins from hassling you. I don't think I'm going to do that this time because, A, we're not going to spend a ton of time in the nether. And if we need golden armor, we can always grab that. So, that is boots, and that is a helmet. And then pants go like that. It's a good look. Classic. Let's grab some lapis and let's see what we get if we put these things in here. Let's start with the chest plate and see what we get. Unbreaking Protection 4. Very good start. Let's see what happens if we go for the Depth Strider. Okay. Protection 3, Depth Strider, Unbreaking 3. That's not terrible. Let's try this. Okay. Fire Protection, Respiration, Aqua Affinity. Now the other thing I could do is I could make more armor, try to enchant it, and then combine the armor pieces. We've got a fair amount of diamonds, so let's try something. Another helmet. I know it seems crazy. There it is. Unbreaking 3. Did this have Unbreaking? It didn't. Okay. Let's see what happens. Unbreaking 3, Protection 3, Aqua Affinity. So we already had Aqua Affinity on here. No Respiration. We're going to peel this helmet. The Fire Protection one. Getting kind of low on experience. What do we get now? Protection 3 again. This one has Protection 3, so if we put them together, we'd get Protection 4. Let's see if we get anything else. Respiration 3, Protection 3. Okay. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Because if I combine these two, we're going to have Protection 4, Aqua Affinity, Unbreaking 3, Respiration 3. And then we could put a mending book on it, and that might be an almost perfect helmet. I can't think of anything else that I'm forgetting. You know, aside from maybe thorns, that's the only thing. Okay, what happens if I try to put these together? 14, and if I flip it, 16, yuck. And then what happens if I try to put mending on one of them? And then if I go this way, that costs 17, and this way costs 19. So we're going to go this way, and we will have a Protection 4, Respiration 3, Aqua Affinity, Unbreaking 3, Mending Helmet. That's pretty great. And we are down to 10 experience. So I'm going to put my fancy helmet on. Nice. Feel real good about that. I think we need to utilize the XP farm. Okay, I did a little bit of research here, and I figured something out. So we currently have the Villager Trade Rebalance going on our world, which means certain villagers always trade specific books. And so what that means is, in a desert village, the librarian will always offer thorns. So if we want to put thorns on our armor, that's a great way to do it. Another one, feather falling. The jungle librarian always sells feather falling. So it might be simpler just to run over, trade with the jungle guy, and put feather falling on our boots rather than driving ourselves insane. Protection 4, feather falling 4, depth strider 3, unbreaking 3, mending. Well, our leggings are not great, and our chest plate is a little weak, but we have a really great helmet and some really great boots. So that is a fine start. I think between episodes, I'm going to work on getting more experience levels so we can try and level up the rest of the armor. And then next episode, I've got a couple of things I want to do. One is I want to do a little bit of exploration in some of those dangerous areas, like that chasm we found over in the desert. And then I also want to get started on our central storage facility. And that's where I'm going to wrap this one up. If you want to be like these folks and help support the channel, scan the code on the screen or click join down below. And thanks for watching. I hope you had fun. Please like and subscribe if you want to follow along on the adventure, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.